Netflix's exclusive anime, Godzilla Singular Point, is teeming with creatures both familiar and new. Much has already been said about the show's marquee monsters, but not as much has been dedicated to the more rare and forgotten kaiju that dwell within GSP's 13 episodes. In this series of videos, we're going to search out those mysterious beasts and bring them to the forefront, from one-off kaiju cameos to creature concepts that were left on the cutting room floor. These are the Lost Kaiju of Godzilla Singular Point. The smog monster Hedorah was one of the Showa era's most unique and arguably terrifying creatures, racking up an on-screen civilian body count not seen since the original 1954 Godzilla. Its popularity has endured since its 1971 debut, and it's of little surprise that the pollution-consuming horror was considered for a starring role in the early days of developing Godzilla Singular Point. The name Hedorah did come up at the very beginning when we were talking about which kaiju to pick up. Screenwriter Toenjo revealed on the Godzilla Singular Point Volume 2 Episode 8 commentary. But there was talk at the time about how it wouldn't quite fit in, animation-wise. Wouldn't quite fit in, animation-wise? What exactly Enjo meant isn't specified, as he doesn't follow up on it in the commentary. Studio Orange, the company that animated all of Singular Point's kaiju, did face a limited number of man-hours with a limited schedule for production of 3D CG, as producer Takashi Yoshizawa stated in his CGWorld interview. Could Hedorah, a beast of sludge and grime, have been too much of a challenge to bring to life via 3D CG under such tight deadlines? Perhaps. But in addition to animation hurdles, it might have also been the simple matter of whether or not the monster could have served the story. On the Episode 8 commentary, it is director Atsushi Takahashi's follow-up comment to Enjo's reveal of Hedorah's consideration that gives credence to this idea, and also inadvertently reveals another lost beast of Godzilla Singular Point. So Hedorah, it was like when we were discussing whether Godzilla would fly in the sky. Then how would it fly? Is flying really the right call? This cancelled aerial fifth form of Godzilla's evolution will be covered in a future video, but the important takeaway from this comment is the fate of both it and Hedorah. The process of selecting Singular Point's kaiju was left to director Takahashi and producer Yoshizawa, according to CGWorld magazine. While they were guided by Toho to use famous monsters from the Godzilla series, their preferential creatures were those who would make the show more interesting. Based on Takahashi's commentary, they also questioned whether or not they could make sense of including certain monsters in the narrative that Enjo and Takahashi were constructing, like a flying Godzilla or a smog monster. Editorially speaking, considering how Godzilla Singular Point revitalized Jet Jaguar, it would have been intriguing to see what the creatives could have done with Hedorah, an evolving extraterrestrial that seems like a perfect fit for Singular Point's transforming kaiju roster. But while the alien slime monster didn't make the kaiju cut, it did make a duo of cameos across the final 13 episodes of Godzilla Singular Point. In Episode 1, literally in the first minute, the image of Hedorah appears during the summer festival as an Umibozu, a type of Japanese yokai, as director Takahashi points out on the Episode 1 BluRay commentary. I asked Rainey, a resident anime expert, as well as one of the interviewees featured on the Lost and Unmade History of Godzilla Singular Point videos, to explain what exactly an Umibozu is.
Umibozu are a great comparison for the kaiju in Singular Point. Umibozu, which means sea monk, are a type of yokai, being strange creatures or apparitions, that rise out of the sea and cause it to turn turbulent. Oftentimes they destroy ships when they rise up, but if the ship remains, the Umibozu will demand a barrel from the sailors. Regardless if they do or don't, the Umibozu will drown them. However, it can be bamboozled by giving them a bottomless barrel, giving the sailors enough time to escape. It's an interesting comparison to Singular Point's kaiju in that they too can only be stopped by using something fantastical and seemingly impossible.
Hedorah's second cameo in the world of Singular Point was a little more strange, as the cult favorite kaiju was literally grafted onto another classic Showa monster. Kumonga, the titanic spider that first appeared in Son of Godzilla, appears roughly at GSP's midway point as a swarming kaiju made up of 4 different forms: Kumonga, Kumenga, Ananga, and Zimbunga. According to the Godzilla Singular Point Symposium 2, a booklet included in the Singular Point Volume 3 BluRay set, animating the army of arachnid monsters was one of the most difficult scenes, due to the sheer number of differing 3D CG models present. Each monster also was reportedly to have been animated individually, which was a huge undertaking when you compare it to something like the Rodan swarm, where each model had a slightly modified animation cycle in order to make them appear as if they were all moving individually. And if that wasn't bad enough, the number of on-screen models only increased with the need of special battle-damaged Kumonga. As Jet Jaguar slices and dices the eight-legged freaks, the Kumonga's blue goo blood regenerates the fallen kaiju's severed limbs and appendages. Monster designer AJ Yamamori's design notes, which were on display at the Operation Awaji vs. Godzilla Singular Point attraction in 2021, explains this aspect in more detail. The body is filled with a translucent, mucus-like fluid that begins to harden rapidly when exposed to air, such as during cutting, and turns into skin and shell. Yamamori himself elaborated more in the Godzilla Singular Point fanbook. Just like a cell, as a living creature, Kumonga can bind itself with mucus, so it can survive, as the only thing it needs are its breathing gills located on its eyes. Yamamori also revealed that this new Kumonga characteristic was initially imagined by Toenjo in his original script. But, as Yamamori had done with various forms of Godzilla, as well as monsters like Sharanga, he took artistic license and added the likeness of other Toho kaiju into the design of Kumonga. This included Megalon, Gigan, and, when the spider kaiju's blood bubbles into sentient shape, the unmistakable form of Hedorah. Yamamori-san's setting was so that it gets cut open and there it is inside, said director Takahashi on the episode 8 Blu-ray commentary. So, we just went ahead and used that idea as is. According to the episode 8 commentary, Hedorah's inclusion, even at this level, pleased fans and crew alike. There were quite a few people who were saying, "We're waiting for the Hedorah scenes," said Toenjo. Director Takahashi replied, "Yes, there was a lot of that." Producer Minami-san also likes Hedorah, saying, "The best part of Godzilla is Hedorah." That's going to be all for now. I'd like to thank Rainey and Norman England for helping with this video, and, of course, all of you for watching. For Godzilla's sake, please consider liking and sharing this video, as well as subscribing to this channel, as every little bit helps us continue to bring you videos like these. Thank you all, and we'll see you in the next video.